Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Chatting with Nuts. And this is a special late night edition, episode number 27. And I decided to bring in the big guns. I said, we have to get somebody legendary for this episode. Okay. And I would love to introduce to you the guest for episode 27. He is one of, if not the most prolific reviewers in the world. He stands at exactly 12 and a half Stormlight Archive books tall.
Oh my God, Jimmy.
He is the reigning, defending, Goodreads reviewing champion of the world, Petrik Leo.
You definitely got this from your wrestling career, right?
You're damn right I did. You're damn right I did.
But yeah, it's really good to finally be here, Jimmy. Thank you so much for inviting me. We have wanted to do this for months, or years.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. But yeah, time zone is hard.
Very, very hard. For those who are wondering, yes, I'm usually, we're usually halfway through an episode by now, but Petrik happens to be on the other side of the world. So for Petrik, he's actually in the future, which how is Saturday? Is Saturday looking good?
Yeah, it is looking good. No, it's looking terrible.
So we had to make it work with the time zones, and I appreciate you getting up early on a Saturday to come join us. This is a conversation, like you said, we've been waiting to have for a long time. We have been friends since before I made a BookTube channel. So that was 2 years because we talked on Goodreads.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah, we did.
You're the one who told me about Faithful and the Fallen. I saw you review it because, you're going on Goodreads and you're looking, the number one man in the world, Petrik Leo, right there at top, right? And I messaged you and I think I said, man, I love A Song of Ice and Fire. Like, what else could I read? And you said, hey, check out Malice. And I looked up the reviews and I saw it in the bookstore. And I think I had actually seen it before at the bookstore because my wife liked the cover. And you didn't steer me wrong, my friend. It's one of my favorite series of all time, and it's tropey as hell. But I love me some John Gwynne. Just strikes all the right chords. But it's crazy to think that we talked before I even had a channel.
Yeah,
it's 2 years.
As I said before, if it weren't for you, I don't think I would have a BookTube channel. So thank you so much for that.
Well, I'm just happy that you decided to do it because I knew out of all the people that we have in this community that if there's someone that a lot of people can go to and get some good information and hear about a ton of reads, it's you. I mean, you've read everything.
I think you're doing really well on that too. You've read Robin Hobb, Malazan. Now you're done with Malazan, right?
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, you're done with Malazan too, and then you also read John Gwynne.
Yeah, read John Gwynne. I tried to do Wheel of Time, but I fell off that train.
Look, I'm still doing that too. Okay.
Yeah, had a little bit of a resurgence for you, man.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe it will fall again.
I would put my money on the falling.
We'll see.
Yeah, I remember us talking about you doing a BookTube channel, and I think Christian from Lost and Discovery is part of those conversations because we're the Taviran boys, me, you, and Christian.
The three of us.
Yeah, well, it's funny because our viewers don't necessarily know who we talk to, offline, right? Like on our channel. Yeah. And me and you've only done a couple collabs together. Me and Christian have done a couple, but me, you, and Christian were in a group chat for over a year, and just riffing about Wheel of Time, Attack on Titan, anything that sounded fun, right?
Yeah, Lost in Discoveries here.
Yeah, what a champion he is, and yeah, it's been a good time. What's up, Alex? Says the guy in the glasses is hot. That's both of us. That's perfect.
That's both of us.
Yes,
thank you, Evie. Thank you, Evie.
Yeah, congratulations, man. That's awesome.
Thanks, man. That's also kind of why that and the Elden Ring is kind of why my reading has been really slow lately.
Yeah, dude. Elden Ring took a chunk out of my reading time, and then I'm obviously house hunting and stuff. Like I told you, it's been a little bit of a weird start to the year for me. Like new adventures, new books. I'm reading a lot of different stuff. I just read Ted Chiang's Stories of Your Life and Others.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, you've read it?
I haven't actually read all the short stories in that collection. I just read the one that made the movie Arrival.
Yeah, yeah.
I even forgot the name right now. Is that actually the
I'm actually
title?
forgetting the name of it. It's Stories of Your Life. That's what it is.
Yeah. I've read it. I think a few years ago. Yeah, and it was really good. I still need to read the rest.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you what. He is one of probably the best authors I've ever read. Like just reading that short story collection, that guy is so smart. And he has I mean, I will say this, like there's one story that's like very heavy into math and science to where I was like, okay, I'm too dumb for this, but I know it's good. You know what I'm saying? Like where you're like,
yeah.
But generally I would say all the stories are very digestible, which is a pretty big feat when you take science and being able to give it out to the general population. But man, the collection of short stories, absolutely fantastic. I'm going to read his Exaltation, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
Second collection.
I haven't read that one.
Yeah, I'd love to get to it. I'm definitely a big short story fan, and I would say these are easily the best short stories I've ever read.
Have you read Ken Liu's short stories collection?
No, I haven't.
Oh man, you should, man. It is so good, so good. The one, the Paper Managery and Other Stories. That one is amazing.
I'll tell you what, I'll make you a deal. I'll read that if you read Grace of Kings finally.
Oh yeah, I will next month. Next month, I will read the Grace of Kings. And for the Paper Managery, the title story, it is only about 15 minutes long, I think. No, it's only about 15 pages long, but it is so good, so good.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say, that's kind of what Ken Liu is known for is that collection, and I'm pretty pumped to read it because I gotta say, I don't read a lot of it. I love short fiction. I just do. And I wish I read more of it. Most of the short fiction I've read has been horror, mostly Stephen King. Like that's kind of been where I've gotten a lot of that from. But Ted Chiang and Ken Liu, is they're both so good that there's no way I can't read everything they've put out. I just read Grace of Kings. I think I may have told you that, maybe I didn't, but I thought it was fantastic. I really think you're gonna love it.
Yeah. I've been wanting to read that for years, seriously.
Well, it's been on my TBR for a long time because everyone says, "Oh, Song of Ice and Fire vibes," and me, like that's my thing. But I kept putting it off because the Goodreads, the rating, I know it like subconsciously impact. Yeah, it's like 3.6, and you're like, maybe I'll read Jay Kristoff. Like I don't know, and this tells me, man, I can't trust the Goodreads average review. This book for me was a 5-star read. So
yeah. I've read plenty of books on Goodreads where the rating is actually below 4, and they're incredible. But yeah, I think something just have to really capture your attention first.
Yeah, definitely. Can you think of one that has had like a lower Goodreads review that you loved? Like one off the top of your head, you're like, that's a good example of that.
This is not the first book, but it is the third book in the series. But it is in Themis Files by Sylvain Neuvel.
Okay, I've never even heard of these before. Siri was listening to you. She's like, "What did you say?"
Yeah, it is Themis Files. The first book is Sleeping Giants. I don't know if you've heard of that one.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, but the third book is kind of, well, let's just say that a lot of people hate the ending. But I actually loved it. I thought it was the best book of the series.
Huh. Well, yeah. I haven't heard of that, but I know that I think everybody has at least one book when they went on Goodreads. They felt personally attacked when they saw the average rating. And I would say that Grace of Kings is now that book. And also every Daniel Abraham book is like 3 stars. And I'm just like, I think he's fantastic. I understand not a lot of people can get behind how slow of a pace he puts on. But for me, I know you've been reading Dagger in the Coin, and I love it personally. Did you end up finishing it?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Incredible. It is incredible series. I think Daniel Abraham, I've always said this, I think his fantasy books deserve so much more recognition.
I agree. I think he's doing something that's very unique and stands out. And as you know, that's hard to do anymore.
Yeah. But at the same time, I think out of all the fantasy writers that I've read, I think Daniel Abraham is the one that felt the most similar to George R.R. Martin. Yeah,
I'd agree with that. I think Hobb and him are like, if you could mix them, you might get George. Like,
yeah.
And when I say that, folks, I don't mean that I think that like Gurm is that much better than them. I just mean stylistically.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
stylistically, because I love Rob Knob clearly, but I also think that Daniel Abraham has some serious writing chops. And he is someone I need to read more of. I need Lion Price Quartet. His Age of Ash just came out. I haven't got to read that yet. I'm way behind on new releases, man.
Me too, man.
Is that your TBR over there? That's stacked next to you?
No. Oh, but this is the one that we've read, the Sun Eater. Yeah.
Oh yes, they're wonderful.
Yeah. Oh, I actually haven't read all of this. So yeah, so you're kind of right on this.
That's your TBR. I mean,
Yeah.
How many physical books do you own?
I think right now about 500. I think. Yeah. Yeah, it is really bad.
Bro, that's more than my own hometown library, and I mean that.
Oh, really?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it was like in the back of the senior center, and they had some okay stuff, but like they probably had like 200 books tops.
I used this never happened to me before, but for the past 2 years, I think ever since I started BookTube, I think it has gotten worse because so many publishers are sending me books now.
Dude, I can't imagine how many arcs you have. Like I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah, it is quite a lot.
Yeah, does that give you a lot of pressure? Like, do you feel pressure from those, or is it just kind of is what it is at this point?
I think, thankfully, a lot self-published fantasy authors, they also send me books, right? Self-published fantasy authors, and also publishers, they never pressured me into doing anything. Well, a few odd self-published fantasy authors might, but not really. I usually ignore those.
You're in high demand.
No, I mean, if you gotta pressure me into reading, you better pay me something. Like, I don't have so much time in the world, man.
Yeah, and there are times where you want to do other stuff, right? Like Elden Ring, that we kind of talked about.
Yeah.
I almost felt guilty. I think I put in like 40 hours that first week, and I was like, oh my God, like how much reading I could have got done. But sometimes it's okay to step back.
Yeah, it is. And Elden Ring is just so good. So good.
Yeah, it almost feels like a fantasy story that you're being put into, just because the world is so atmospheric. And I saw Alex today talk his Discord about how Lovecraftian some of the scenes are, and I mean, it just feels like a story that has truly come to life, not just another video game per se.
Yeah, totally. Thank you, Christian.
Petrik has the cool blade itself, and Christian's definitely he's got envious eyes. He's staring over there like, I'm gonna take that.
Oh no!
How far away is that?
When I talk with Christian, I thought that we live near, because I think he's in Australia, right? So yeah. I thought that I thought that he's near, but then he told me how many flight hours I need to actually go to his place, and wow, I'm shocked.
Listen, Christian might as well be on a different planet. Okay, because I want to go see him, but it's like 360 days or something to get. It's like 36 hours or something. I'm like, mate, I love you, but I don't know.
Oh, that's even further than I think. I think if I want to go to your place, I think it will take about 20 hours. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
That's still a long time, though.
Do you think you'll ever come over this way?
I don't know. I want to. I don't know when, but I know that
a place to stay with me, man.
That's really cool, man. A lot of people are saying that. I don't think I need to pay anymore.
No, you're good. You could probably take a tour of the United States at this point and be good, man. Perfect free lodging. That's great.
I will live at your place, and then I will live at Allen's.
Yeah. Allen's at least has good weather most of the time if you're not in a hurricane in Florida. But you could read a book. We could do this live. I mean, how cool would that be? That'd be great, wouldn't it?
Oh man, I'm so envious of the video that you did with Philip and Steven Erickson. Come on, man. I introduced Malazan to you. How could you miss him first?
Dude, it was something, man. To be in the same room as these people and to talk to them was one of the best experiences of my adult life, honestly. And it lit a fire under me to like want to do more, like do a convention or something like that, like a book reviewer convention. The only problem is that it would be way bigger than any of us expect. You would think, oh, it'll only be a couple hundred people, but we get a couple hundred people to watch
Yeah.
live. Could you imagine how many people would show up for something like that? So I think it could be very cumbersome. Like it could be very huge, which means a lot of planning, and I don't have any experience in that. So we got to put like Andy Smith on the case, because that guy is a planner.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Andy's organized. He's got it down. And Philip says booktube convention. Absolutely.
Philip.
And it's actually thanks to Philip. We all owe Philip a big thanks for those videos, because I actually didn't bring anything. I wasn't going to film, I was just worried about getting there. And then, you're nervous to meet people. And then Philip was like, no, we have to film something. I'm like, okay, well, we'll do it. And I'm so glad we did. I'm really, really glad he pushed us to do that, because we almost didn't film anything.
Oh, that would be a shame.
Yeah. And, it's cool to talk about Malazan right after I had finished it with Erickson. I mean, that's a once in a lifetime type of opportunity. So I'm very fortunate for that. Christian says, can't wait for the potential in-person chatting with nuts episodes in the future. Yeah, if I'm not horrendously broke from house shopping, yeah, that is part of the plans. Hopefully by the end of this year, I could have at least one in-person chatting with nuts, like in this room with 2 people. That'd be crazy.
Ooh, that would be so cool,
wouldn't it?
Who will you invite first? Alan?
I think it's got to be Alan. There could be some traveling's hard because he's a little bit further away, but Philip is not that far from me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I don't think Daniel Green is that far from me. But I don't talk to I don't know Daniel Green, so I don't think he's going to want to come into my basement and talk to me on the internet.
You should just go to his place uninvited. Hi, Daniel. Let's record the video.
Stand out in his lawn with a mic. So this is what 100,000 subs gets you. My goodness, this house is huge.
Oh my god.
Could you imagine?
You will appear in this skit, This guy appearing on my place uninvited. I don't even know him.
Yeah, that's a good way to get arrested, I think.
Yeah. Oh, but I think you guys did a great job though on the charity for Doctors Without Borders.
Yeah. Man,
Yeah.
We got to give it up to Sarah, and thank you for your video. You did that. For anyone who missed it, we did an amazing Champion Jeopardy episode on Alan's channel, and we raised money with Doctors Without Borders for all the refugees, everything that's going over in Ukraine. And I got to thank every booktuber. There were so many people that turned in videos, and just seeing everyone come together for a common cause was really special. Like, I'm really proud of this community, and I'm proud to be a part of it. And, you see people from all different, people who hate Stormlight or love Stormlight, everyone came together. And I think it's because this is a pretty tight knit group and we have a good community. But that whole day, I rode that high the whole day. Just like, wow, that was incredible. We really did something. I think it was something like $1,500.
Oh, nice.
I mean, that's great. We're not huge YouTubers. You know what I mean? So everyone, including you, thank you, man, for
you're welcome.
Giving the video. Daniel Green shouted it out on Fantasy News the week of as well. So kudos to him. Mike gave us a video. Murphy
as well.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm forgetting people now, but everyone that was involved, thank you so much. And if you guys haven't watched that video, if you missed Champion Jeopardy, I highly recommend going and checking out the pre-show where I roast Philip.
That was so bad.
At 9,000 degrees, I roasted Philip. And then we had AP come on, and Sarah, by the way, Sarah was the head of the whole thing, really, and did such a tremendous job. Sarah Reeds is a stupendous person, as we both know. But also so hardworking and put her heart into it. And I have so much respect for Sarah. And I love her a ton. And then Evie was there to help out as well. But poor Sarah was just sitting there, just watching Philip just get annihilated.
And what I love about that is that Philip can actually do anything because he's not in the room.
I mean, Petrik, what's Philip gonna do? Huh? I'm just kidding, Philip. Please don't hurt me. Nice. I'm still feeling the burn from that roasting. Oh man, it was definitely a special day, and for me, my favorite part, other than just eviscerating Alan and Philip, was seeing people's reactions in the chat when we played the guest videos, like of you and of Murphy, and people being like, "What in the world? Like, this is a big production." And
Yeah.
you know, the extra layer to that is, and this is what I love and I live for, is like it being live. Like we did all that live, like the pre-show. We had guests in the lobby, you know,
Yeah.
and thank God Evie was there, because Evie was the one coordinating like who goes into stream when and all that stuff, right?
Okay.
Without her, we would have been screwed. So shout out to her. But the fact that we did that live and we had like scheduled guests for the pre-show, you know, I mean, that's a production, and I love
Yeah.
live shows, dude. I just love them.
Yeah, you're doing really well with this conversation with Nuts. You're doing really well.
Yeah, I think I remember when I first started, I talked to you and Christian about it. Like you guys were the first people I think I told. Like, yeah, I did the first one. I said, "Man, that was a lot of fun. I got to have you guys on." And like you said, we've been waiting to do this for so long.
Yeah.
One day we got to do me.
27, man. 27.
Like it's not going to be that much longer until I'm at 100. You know?
Yeah. Oh, you should do that booktube convention at 100.
Oh, I mean, 100. We might have to do like a clip show, you know, like where like it's 5 hours and I do an hour with 5 different people or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
listen, we got to do it big.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sarah said her favorite quote from the Jeopardy show is, "Do I need a pencil?" Which is what Philip said. And I was like, "What are you, a dinosaur?"
Do I need a pencil?
Yeah, episode 100 is George Railroad Martin, without a doubt.
Oh, that would be amazing.
I did reach out to Robin Hobb. I haven't heard back. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I'll just drop that.
I don't think I've ever seen Robin Hobb doing this kind of interview. So if you
She
get
did
her
one.
Oh, really?
She did Brian McClellan's was it Page Break or Page Break? Is that
yeah, Page, I think Page Break, yeah.
Yep, she did a ridiculously good episode with him on characters, and I think actually he asked one of my questions because I submitted one to him. So I know that she has the capability. I just don't know if she wants to come chat with some random dude.
Well, I hope she will though, because yeah, Robin Hobb is amazing, an amazing writer.
Yeah, and honestly, Robin Hobb is kind of like what, like I always say, there's been foundations in my channel to like the like, you know, milestones that I've hit, right? John Gwynn, my first 1,000 subs, mostly John Gwynn, right? Then everything up to like 4,000 was Robin Hobb, and a lot of my viewers are Robin Hobb fans. Like I have probably the most dense population of Robin Hobb fans, are like, that's 40% of my audience probably. And then Malazan the other side, which is interesting.
Yeah, that's understandable though. I mean, you did the review for each book in Robin Hobb's books.
I did. And you know, one thing I don't regret, but I kind of wish I would have been more willing to do half spoiler free and half spoilers, because there's so many moments that like legitimately like got me that I would have loved to talk about them in more detail. I did the spoiler discussions though, like the live stream, so that was cool. But you know, you ever have that where you review a book and you go back and you're like,
so many times. I wish I could talk about them more in details, but you know, it's kind of hard sometimes, because when you write reviews, I usually do spoiler free, right? That's usually the best way. But sometimes people want a spoiler section, but at the same time, a lot of people also doesn't want a spoiler section. So it's kind of difficult sometimes.
Yeah, and you know, it's also tough because like you want to make something everyone can watch. And you know, some people say, well, that's for the views. No, not really. Like I just want to get as many people into the conversation as possible, right? I really like doing the half spoiler, half no spoiler for Sun Eater. That was a very good split, and I just wish I would have done that a little bit sooner. And then the Malazan discussions that I hosted were among my favorites. I mean, probably my favorite content on the channel, other than chatting with Nuts, just because Philip would come on and just drop knowledge on me, you know, and just
he is a walking Malazan dictionary, you know.
Yeah, I mean, he really could write like, you know, in a companion book, him and AP together. I would love to see that. That would be amazing. I actually really, have you ever thought about doing vlogs? You've never done one, right? Like as you read a book?
No. I actually tried recording myself a vlog on my honeymoon because I read plenty of books, right? I I couldn't do it. I don't know how people do it.
I love them. So I actually love watching them. Bald booktuber
Oh,
Scott, who's in here, he's reading through Dark Tower right now, and he's been doing these like 20-minute vlogs. Dude, they're awesome. Like
oh,
and now and that was something that I really thought about doing again for Malazan. But the first time I tried vlogging, my part one of the book was like an hour. And I was like, I can't do this. Like, and then do you upload it in parts? It's tough because I think the most genuine conversation is like with your audience is right when you've read something. Like, there's nothing
I,
better closing the book, and like probably when you write your reviews too, right? Like,
mm-hmm.
if you read it right after, you get all of those really visceral thoughts out, and it feels good. Like, it feels like
Yeah,
you're getting something out of it rather than waiting a couple weeks and then doing it. It's a little more stale at that point.
yeah. I actually can't write reviews if, let's say, I've waited like a week after I finish the book and I still haven't read anything. Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it. It sucks. I can't do it.
Yeah, it's really hard for me to film videos, and I had to start, doing more like bullet points for my reviews. Do you take notes whenever you're reading?
No, just a few. Well, a few notes sometimes. Depends on the book. Depends on the book. If it's something massive like Malazan, then yeah, I do take some notes sometimes.
Yeah, and I feel like for you, the thing that drew me, not just because you're always at the top of every book I've ever read, apparently, but the other thing about you is like you write very in-depth reviews. I mean, you do not skimp on any of them, and I love the format that you've used. Did you always have that? Because like I don't know, what was like your first Goodreads review? Like, what was the first book you wrote one for?
The first one, oh, it was Mistborn. Actually, it was Mistborn.
Was it
But
really? And you're reading it
was
now?
yeah, it was only one short paragraph for Mistborn. That's it. It was only one short paragraph. And after I read a few more books, I decided, you know what? I might as well practice my writing here because my grammar sucks. My grammar sucks. Seriously, I have a lot of things to learn, so I might as well practice. And apparently, after a while, well, it keeps on improving. Even though I still need to improve myself, it keeps on improving, and somehow I gain some readership. So yeah, that's
Just a
so
few.
that's great. So that's great. That's great.
Yeah, man. So you kind of found your groove after a while. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't like you were Petrik superstar overnight. It was a process.
I never consider myself a superstar, man.
Well, don't worry. I'll hype you up. Did you hear that intro? Did you hear
Yeah.
the intro?
That was probably the most positive intro about me that I've ever heard in my life.
Next time you come on, I'll do a negative one.
Okay. Oh yeah. Let's do that.
Brian has a question for us. Question to both of you: Joe Abercrombie or John Gwynne? Who do you like
Why?
more? And
Why do you ask this kind of question?
There are questions that have no answers, and this might be one of them.
Yeah, this is a difficult one. I think I love them equally.
For me, I think my answer is it's tough because John Gwynne now has expanded past just Faithful in the Fall and the Banished Lands, which I think is very admirable. Now, obviously, Abercrombie has his YA trilogy, but it was the first thing he wrote. So, now he's doing his new thing, which is a work in progress, and I'm excited to see what happens with that. It's weird because if I look at all the books I've read of John Gwynne, I love the time I spent with him. But Abercrombie's view on the world is very much my view, like, or at least shares pieces of it. So I feel like Joe Abercrombie has had moments where I go, is he talking to me? Like just to me,
Yeah.
But John Gwynn's also made me stand up while reading a book. So that, and I think Christian told me that whenever he read Words of Radiance, I think he's like, I stood up reading a book. Like, how can you ever get any better than that? So they're tough. It's tough. They're two different things. One inspires me and one reaffirms all of my negative attitude towards the world. So
yeah, I know what you mean though. I mean, Joe Abercrombie really nailed that grimdark aspect really well. He did it so well. Yeah,
they're very different, right? Like one's very bleak and the other one's full of hope.
Yeah, but both of them they excel at the same things, like characters and also their battle scenes, relationships. On those aspects, I think both of them are actually at their best. Yeah, and they're kind of equal. to me they're kind of equal in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, I love them both very much, and I'd be probably putting them both in the top 10 list, maybe even top 5. I think I would give the edge to Abercrombie, but like I don't know what that really means. You know what I mean? Like, what's that even mean? I don't know what that means. But the thing that strikes me similar about them, and when I say relationships, is friendships, because I think a lot of the Northman stuff, and
so
West,
good.
Yeah. I mean, those are the things that I really remember from First Law. And then you look at John Gwen and the friendships that are built, not just in Faithful and the Fallen, but also in A Blood and Bone. And I'm sure we're going to see that in, Hunger of the God. I haven't read it yet. I know you have. I haven't read it yet. But so they do friendships very well.
Yeah.
And I think we all have like a friend or two, that we can kind of identify with that on one point, where you feel like no one understands your relationship. It's just like we have this weird thing and inside jokes, and there's a camaraderie that it's hard to explain. And these two happen to do it really well.
Yeah, exactly. Completely agree. And their battle scenes are amazing, in my opinion. I don't usually love reading battle scenes in books. I mean, sometimes they went on too long sometimes. But I think for Joe and for John, I think they are excellent. I never felt bored reading their action scenes.
Yeah, I just finished up Bernard Cornwell.
So good, right?
Oh my God, I read Excalibur. I finished it. Turned the last page of it today, dude. Yeah. Cornwell, for my money, the best combat writer of all time.
I know. Yeah, it is amazing. Warlord Chronicles is amazing.
It's so good. It's so good. Like, it's almost too good to where like it's so consistent to me that it's like hard to like picking my favorite of the three is very difficult. Like, it's either 2 or 3. Probably I'm actually leaning towards 3 a little bit, but it's just consistent throughout the whole thing. And you're just like, God, it's just so good.
Yeah, I remember that there was a duel scene in Excalibur that was done superbly.
It's so good. And the Cornwell makes me laugh a lot, man. Like, Merlin, I love Alan does an impersonation of Merlin that is hilarious. I'm not going to do it justice, but he's just like, "Oh, Durful, you're so stupid, you moron." It's just like the audiobook, Jonathan Keeble, probably my favorite audiobook other than a Frank Muller book. I mean, just tremendous.
Are you going to read Wars of Light? It is in my plan. Actually, Wars of Light and Shadow was in my number 1 priority to start within this year. I don't think I could finish it within this year, though, because I didn't realize just how massive that series is.
Huge.
Yeah, it is huge. It is 10 big books like Malazan, Book of the Fallen, and yeah, right now I'm really busy, but yeah, this is one of my priority series.
Yeah. So Jennifer, I am going to be reading Wars of Light and Shadow along with AP and Philip. For those who know AP and Philip, which I'm sure you do, which AP is a critical dragon. I always have to make sure to mention his channel name. I just call him AP. But they did a Malazan read through together as a duo. They would do, a spoiler-free discussion, a spoiler discussion, and then they would try to get Erickson on, like, most of the times. And it's been a wonderful thing. They're on they're on Dust of Dreams right now, and then they're going to do the Crippled God. Well, they've graciously invited me in, and now we are going to do that for Wars of Light and Shadow. We're going to do discussions for each book. We're going to try to do around 1 a month, and have Janie Warts on to talk to her about each book. So it's going to be really exciting. And for those who are wondering kind of what we're talking about, Wars of Light and Shadow is considered to be one of like kind of a hidden gem in fantasy.
Yeah.
And also very dense and complex, kind of like Malazan. And I'm all up for a challenge. So
yeah, it is so often compared to Malazan, but I think they're supposedly different in their content.
Yes. Very different. I've read a couple pages, like just, flipping through it, and Janie Wart's writing, some people describe it as dense. I love it. Very descriptive, large vocabulary.
The vocab is hard.
Yeah. And if you talk to Janie Warts, which I've had the pleasure of doing, or you listen to her on an interview, one, she's passionate as all get out, and she's also extremely intelligent.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I've talked with her plenty of times, and yeah, she's so passionate about fantasy and her books. I love it.
Yeah, I get really fired up whenever I see an author with passion and who's put like a lot of thought behind their writing, because for some it's a very it's just writing. They don't think
Yeah.
through every single little thing. It's one of the things I really liked about Erickson, and I get that vibe from Janney as well. I think, and I don't know if other people would agree with this, but I actually think Brandon Sanderson also falls into that category because I think he is very meticulous about what he includes.
Yeah.
And you can tell that he has a purpose for most of the things that he's putting down on the page, not just for the plot, but also, am I doing this justice? Am I doing, I don't want to short sell anything, and no one's perfect. That happens.
Yeah.
But those are three authors that I can see for those things, which is interesting because Sanderson's a very, very different writer than those two.
Oh, totally.
But they share that quality, and that quality means a lot to me personally. We had a question from Jay Mashuzu. I hope I said that right. Probably didn't. Do either of you have any older fantasy series you really like? I'm talking 80s, 90s fantasy. I think I'm going to say Memory, Star, and Thorn because that was kind of before, I believe it was before the Wheel of Time. Definitely before Song of Ice and Fire. And I feel like it kind of gets forgotten in the transitional period of fantasy. But what about you, Petrik?
We'll just talk about Jenny Ward, so I'm going to mention her here. Her Reform Empire trilogy, in collaboration with Raymond E. Weiss. I think that's truly fantastic. Amazing trilogy, one of the best.
You messaged me when you finished it, and you said, "Dude, you got to read this." Yeah.
Oh, you will love this, Jimmy. I really don't think you will dislike this one.
So excited. It's on my have to read for this year, which I didn't plan on doing Wars of Light and Shadow, but you can't turn down an opportunity to do, such a cool thing with AP and Philip. So I'm actually going to fit that in somehow this year. Man, I'm excited.
When is that happening anyway for the Wars of Light and Shadow?
We're supposed to start in May, but I could see it maybe happening in June. So May or June, maybe. And we're going to try for a book a month, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is a heavy one. Yeah.
Yeah, the first book is like 1,000 pages, dude. It's what am I doing to myself?
I think Curse of the Misrate is 800 or something. Yeah, I can't remember right now.
It's thick. Yeah, it's big.
Yeah.
Yeah, Philip says, can't wait for Wars of Light and Shadow. Me either, Philip. I'm really excited to dive into something that's a little bit lesser known because, I've tackled a lot of the big stuff, like you said, like, Realm of the Elderlings and stuff. Do you, and you have as well, do you ever feel like, oh no, I'm getting towards the end? Like, I've read everything?
You mean for fantasy books in general?
Yeah.
Oh, no. I still have so many books that I want to read, so many. The problem is actually finding the time to read them all. Yeah, that's the biggest problem.
Yeah, it's a little daunting when you look at your TBR, but I do have those days. Like when I finished Malazan, like I was like, damn, like what else am I going to read? Like I've read all of the big series, but then you start digging through your TBR and you realize, like I looked at Grace of Kings and I said, oh my God, I've been wanting to read this forever. Let's do it. And now, I mean, Grace of Kings is in contention for my book of the year right now. That's how much I loved it.
And I've heard that The Wall of Storms is supposedly miles better than the Grace of Kings. So yeah,
that's what I've heard. A lot of people don't like how distant the narration is in Grace of Kings because it kind of flows like a little bit, actually like a Cornwell novel, where like long periods of time go by.
Yeah.
Kind of the same idea but different. It's hard to explain. It's very uniquely written. But I've heard that book 2 is a way more of a traditional fantasy narrative. So not in the sense that it's been done before, but like just the narration style, like how the story is being spoken to you. So I'm really excited to see what book 2 has. And then Sun Eater's been phenomenal. I mean,
I still need to get to that, man.
Bro, I'm telling you, I feel very confident you'll love it. Very,
I've read only the first chapter of Empire of Silence just to try, and it is amazing already. I love the prose already.
Yeah, Rocchio is excellent. Yeah. He's really excellent. Talk about someone that puts a lot of thought into what he writes down. He I told him, I said, man, your chapter endings, Gwen's really good at ending chapters.
Oh yeah.
So is Rocchio. And I was like, do you plan those in your outlines? Because he's a meticulous outliner. And he said sometimes I do. And I'm like, it shows. Because man, he ends some of those chapters and you're just like, what? Like, I can't stop now.
Yeah. And he's still really young.
Yes. I mean, to think that we have a full lifetime, of stories to hear from him is very exciting as someone who has really, really enjoyed his work. So,
yeah.
We have a question here, and it says, "Have either of you read the Drizzt trilogy?" I've not read any R.A. Salvatore. Have you, Petrik?
Same here. I haven't read any of Salvatore's book.
A lot of people love. Yeah, Jennifer saying, I love Drizzt. There's so many people who like really enjoy it, and then I think everybody admits that some of it isn't great. When you publish that many books, like there's going to be a few duds, right? Look at Stephen King. But it's something I need to read because I feel like it's important, for the genre. But when do you fit it in?
I don't know. But at least I will try to read at least the first trilogy. I think Homeland is the title. Yeah, that one I think I will try to fit in one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Drizzt is actually a super popular character. The fact that I know about him, even though I haven't read any of his books,
That's right.
It just goes to show that.
Yeah, I know a lot of people like the action in those, but at least the earlier books, because I think it starts getting a little repetitive after like book 36 or something. But the early books, a lot of people like it. So yeah, one day, the ever elusive one day.
Yeah. Look, we will never run out of TBR, pal. We will never run out of them.
Nah, not if you keep recommending stuff to me. But it's nice about you, Petrik. You read so much and have read so much that there's things that I'm really excited about and I want to fit in, like 7-book series. And I'm like, I'm so pumped for this. And then you'll read it and you'll go, it was terrible. And then I get to go, I'll try it later. And I'm thinking, do you know what I'm thinking of?
Yeah. What?
Trader Sun Cycle.
Yeah. That's a 5-book series. And oh my God, that was one of the biggest disappointment I've had.
Dude, remember me and you were like, dude, this is going to be sick. Cause like, I know Miles Cameron and John Gwynn have like a lot of fandom like exchanges. Like, it seems like people like both. I haven't read book 1. I still have it. I think I still have it.
I think you should try it. You definitely should try it. I mean, it could just click with you, but yeah, it's not for me, man. I've tried 2 books and it's really not clicking with me.
We're pretty compatible, but we do have a few outliers every now and then. So I will give it a shot just to see. Maybe, hopefully, I like it. I know the Gwyn boys love it.
Yeah. Have you read? Oh, I love Cradle series. Good Quake. Yeah, I really love Cradle series. Have you read that one, Jimmy? I don't think you've read it.
First off, that name is phenomenal. Girthquake is a hilarious name. Like, let's just take some time to acknowledge how good of a name that is.
And he has Pikachu. Good Quick.
I have not read any Cradle. I own all of his books because they're always free every like 3 months. So I picked them up.
Oh yeah.
Sell me on it. Can you sell me on it?
I think the easiest way I could say it is basically a digestible anime fantasy. yeah, that's easy, and it is very addictive. Each book just gets better and better. I didn't actually like the first 2 books; they're very okay. Yeah, but once you hit the 3rd book, and they're really short, by the way. I think all of them are about 200 or 300 pages long. Yeah. Nice. So once you get to the 3rd book, now that's when it hits. Yeah, it gets so good.
Yeah, I have a friend, and I think he has a master's in English. Like he knows his stuff. Big Tolkien fan. Kind of reminds me of that Philip Chase guy. But he loves Cradle, and he's like, it's my guilty pleasure. He's like, I can't put these books down. He's like, I know it's popcorn fantasy, but I just love it. He's like, I can't help it.
Yeah, it is. I remember that. I recommend that to Andrew Wizardy reads. I think he finished the entire series within 2 weeks. Incredible.
You know what? Maybe 2023, I'll make that one of the series that I want to tackle. I don't think I could do it this year, even if they are short. I just don't know if I can do it.
Yeah.
But it is something, and I'll be honest, Will White just seems like a cool dude.
Oh yeah, it is.
He just seems like a nice dude. Psych-Fi says, when are you reading the Warrior Prophet, Jimmy? I've actually already read it. I read the entire Prince of Nothing trilogy. I just didn't have separate reviews for them. I thought the Warrior Prophet was the best book of the 3. Petrik, have you read any of, or have you heard of Baker, or Scott Baker?
I obviously have heard of Baker, the Prince of Nothing, and the the entire series, I think it's called the Second Apocalypse, right?
Yes, that's all 7 books. Yeah.
Yeah, but I haven't read any of his books. I know that this is very, I think, kind of like a hit and miss, but if it hits with you, I think this would become one of your favorite series of all time.
Yeah, I I love Prince of Nothing, and I had a comment today actually on my R. Scott Baker review I did for the first book, and someone said not only does Baker deconstruct like Lord of the Rings and like the bigger, broader ideas in fantasy, but he in turn also builds something extraordinarily unique and creative. And I think that's a really good distinction to put on Baker's work. Now, it is not for everyone. There's a lot of crazy philosophy in there that I don't even agree with, but I like exploring ideas. Like, I think that's an important thing to do. And he built, I mean, there's languages in there. I mean, it's a rich and dense fantasy. It just happens to have absolutely zero, humor or hope at all. Abercrombie kind of makes it fun as you go through, at least we're laughing. There's not any of that in there, but I do find some semblance of hope through specifically the character Akamian in Prince of Nothing. To give you an idea, he's a like 40-something-year-old disgruntled sorcerer who hates his job. And it's just like, I kind of relate to that, Okay. I mean, I'm not a sorcerer, but I am disgruntled constantly at my job. So
I don't know if I don't know if this is the same for you or not, but do you sometimes actually feel better after you read very dark fantasy books?
Yes.
I actually do. So people ask me because they said that I don't look like the kind of guy who read a lot of dark fantasy.
What's that supposed to mean?
I have no idea what that's supposed to mean, but I actually love reading dark fantasy. And sometimes, just to make things simpler, when you read something like really bleak, it will make you feel grateful about your life.
Yeah, well, and everyone goes through some dark times, and the thing that is, and this is specific to Erickson and some of the stuff he wrote in Toll the Hounds, which was a book full of grief because his father passed away as he was writing it. He was able to put into words some of the feelings that I had. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking like whenever it's like that, some of those darkest moments, and you just don't even know how to explain. Like, someone says, "What's wrong?" and you're like, "I don't know how to tell you."
Yeah.
Some of those pieces of work have been able to give my feelings life, or to give it an explanation in a much more beautiful way than I could ever imagine saying it. And I think that for me was one of the bigger attractions of darker fantasy or stories in general. I just read The Road by Cormac McCarthy, and Cormac McCarthy. Cormac.
I think Cormac. Yeah.
And that's a story, in my opinion, about hope in a lot of ways. And there was some passages in there that just rung true, and you're just like, man, sometimes you got to keep going. So I don't know. There's something to be pulled out of almost any good piece of art, in my opinion. Whether or not it's full of hope or dread.
Yeah. I actually watched The Road. Yeah, I think that's a good movie. I haven't read the book. Yeah, I haven't read the book. Which one do you like more?
I like the book more, but the reason why is because McCarthy is a madman and doesn't use punctuation.
What?
So like quotation tags.
Yeah,
like he doesn't use them. And his characters don't have names.
Oh, okay.
So it's the boy and Papa.
Yeah.
And I just think it's such a bold thing to do.
Wow, that is crazy,
bro. But here's the thing. It reads so smooth. So smooth. It's only like 280 pages. Dude, I would love if you read it. I really would, because I think, being someone like, obviously you've read a ton of books, I've never read anything like McCarthy. Ever.
Okay.
And for some people, they hate it. Some people hate it.
Yeah, I mean, with no punctuation, obviously it won't click with a lot of people.
Well, there's periods, but he doesn't. But he doesn't really use semicolons ever. Like, I think he even says, I think it was in his Oprah interview, he's like, I hate semicolons, they're stupid. And he's like, why do I want to break up the page with all these tags? He's like, I can't be bothered. I'm writing a story here, But the dialogue, and this is one of these moments where I realized how much audio impacts reading, because I read the first like 25%, 30% of the book, and then I went on a road trip with my wife. So I said, okay, we'll listen to the audio in the car because we could finish it in the trip.
Okay.
There was a little bit of humor in there that I didn't pick up on, but the narrator he like stressed certain words, right? And I was like,
Yeah.
or like, a sentence that's like, come here, come here, son.
Huh.
The way he's like, come here, son. And you're like,
Yeah,
oh, what's that mean? Like, so
yeah.
it's crazy how much your experience can vary from reading and listening depending on the narrator, Um,
I wish I'm more of an audiobook person. I really tried, but for now, I still can't gel with audiobooks, unfortunately.
Yeah, for me, I can most of the time, but narrators, it's very hit or miss. I
Yeah.
just did Jonathan Keeble for Warlord, and he's he's so good. Tyler has a question. He said, if you two could reread the Farseer trilogy, Warlord Chronicles, or the Greenbone saga, I've never read that, for the first time, which would it be? I'm trying to decide which series to start. Mine would be Farseer.
Mine would be the Greenbone saga.
Yeah, man, you're high on that one. Jade
Yeah.
Legacy won your book of the year last year.
Yeah, it is the best completed trilogy that I've read. It is the best. Yeah. Loved it so much. I think it just hit with me because I mean, the story and the characters, everything about the series has been great already. They're amazing, but at the same time, because I'm an Asian reader, I think it just kind of hit with me more because of that.
Certainly.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's one of those series so hyped, and I'm just like, I gotta get to it. If I can squeeze it in this year, I'm going to. But at the same time, it's always nice to have like that gem waiting for you, like on a rainy day.
Yeah.
That's how I treat Abercrombie.
That's how I treat this one right now, Sun Eater.
It's a good one to do.
Yeah,
it's a very good one to do.
But I will get to it. I will get to it either within this year or at the latest next year.
It'll be there, And it's an ongoing series. We got book 5 for Sun Eater coming out later this year, so you got some time, man.
Yeah, and I think Rokyo has mentioned that he's planning to finish the series next year.
Yeah, crazy.
Wow, ambitious. Wow.
He's prolific, man. He's
great.
Aaron Layton, thank you for the 5 spot. He actually asked a question, said, have either of you read Terry Goodkind? I have not.
I have not. I actually have not.
Yeah, one day I will. Nick giving some Cradle some love there.
Oh wow, for book 1. That doesn't happen often.
Well, sometimes fun's all you need out of a book, right? Like, read the first few Dresden. I don't necessarily think they're the greatest thing since sliced bread yet, but I'm having fun. I got a good time.
How many books have you read in Dresden?
What is it? 3. I read Grey Peril last. I actually was going to start the 4th one, but I'm waiting on Alan. And when you do a read along with Alan, it might take him 3 months to read a book. You never know. I gotta poke fun
Come on, Alan.
Poor Alan. Poor Alan. Lost Discovery says, speaking of anime, which manga do you think you'll read next, Jimmy? That will be probably a combination. It'll probably be Vinland Saga and Attack on Titan at the same time.
Nice.
Petrik,
both of them are amazing, man.
I just got the first Colossal edition of Attack on Titan, and it looks so cool.
Oh yeah, I think Christian showed me the Colossal edition. Wow, they're really colossal.
They're so cool, dude. They're so cool. I've been really into manga lately, and by that I mean Berserk.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm really happy to hear that.
Yeah. You actually, again, you told me I would really like Berserk, and man, I'm loving it. And Oso says, God, I'm still in the Golden Age arc for Berserk. In my opinion, I think it even gets better after that. So enjoy it.
I think many readers just kind of, they always hype the Golden Age. Well, it is understandable why, but I think what happened after the Golden Age, they should be talked about more often.
Yes, I agree. I think a lot of people hype up the Golden Age, and then like Conviction and all the other arcs kind of fall to the wayside. But there's a lot of good stuff. I mean, the Lost Children mini arc is tremendous. I mean, it's tough stuff, right? But just tremendous. A lot of people say Lost Children arc is why it'll never be adapted, which I think is interesting. Makes sense, right?
Yeah. It makes sense.
Yeah. My man Stuart, one of my very first supporters here on the channel, says, Petrik, could you sell Jimmy on Con Ingledon? Is that how you say
yeah. Con Ingledon, his Conqueror series, Genghis Khan. Yeah, definitely. Let's just say this: you love Warlord Chronicles, right? I think Conqueror is even better than that.
No.
Yeah. I
really?
think, yeah, it aged over Warlord Chronicles. Yeah,
okay.
Amazing. It is amazing. Especially because you love stuff like grimdark fantasy, right? We're talking about the Mongolian, and they are beasts, man. They were a beast.
Man, I mean, I've heard that is the historical fiction. Like that is the one to read. So you know what? Maybe I'll check it out.
Yeah,
I
definitely do it.
I think I got a gift card. I'll go tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll buy tomorrow.
Nice. And you just finished Warlord Chronicle, so might as well you need another historical fiction.
Yeah, I've been in like a historical fiction kick, but also like, kind of like popular science fiction, kind of, Ted
Mm.
Chiang, and also wanting to read Ken Liu's short story collection. I also just picked up Station 11. Have you ever heard of this?
Oh yeah, I've read that one too. Yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it is. It's
Okay.
good. A
Yeah.
good post-apocalyptic book, and the TV show adaptation is actually really good too. But
That's why I want to read it, because I want to watch it.
no wonder. It is excellent. The TV show adaptation is really good.
That's excellent. I love post-apocalyptic anything. That is like my
Mm.
favorite theme or setting or whatever. I love the rebuilding process. It's why I love The Stand, and so many other books. So when I saw it was post-apocalyptic, it's only like 280 pages. I was like, I'm gonna pick this up and read it. A couple of my patrons were reading it and really, really liking it. So
Yeah, it's good.
I'm
It's
hoping
great
I enjoy
standalone
it.
novel. Yeah, a great
I've heard
standalone
her writing's excellent.
Yeah, I still have to read more from her. What's her name? Emily.
There's a lot of initials there. MB something. I can't remember.
Yeah, I remember Emily.
Oh, this is a cool question. Jimmy and Petrik, best starting point for dark grimdark. I don't think either of us will qualify as experts by any means. But I always recommend Joe Abercrombie because I feel like he's the most pop culture grimdark person, and he's like a good segue until you get into some of the really grimdark stuff,
Yeah, I agree. I definitely will choose the First Law.
Yeah. Oh, what do you think of this one? Matt F says, Malazan, yes or no for a Sanderson fan, Wheel of Time fan like me? Can't decide if I should try it.
I think the writing style is super different from Sanderson and the Wheel of Time. But if we're speaking about epic fantasy and its scope, then you can't go wrong with choosing Malazan. Its scope is massive. It's still, I think, for fantasy novels, it is still the biggest fantasy novels in terms of scope that I've read.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because I actually agree with you. Like, I like Sanderson. Wheel of Time to me, not as big of a fan, you could say.
Yeah.
Malazan's a different experience than that, though. And I remember, do you remember I hit you up after Oathbringer? Do you remember this? And I said, bro, no one is doing what Sanderson's doing when it comes to this level of details. Like, I was like, this is awesome. Like, I was freaking out. And I remember you said, that's cool. Wait till you read Malazan. And I was like, yeah, okay, bud. And you were right. So I think if you love the depth and the mystery and how much you can really dive in to Sanderson, it's different. But Malazan also has a massive amount of meat on the bones, as I call it. Like, you can drill into it. That's one of the things I like about A Song of Ice and Fire. And that's one of the things I like about Stormlight. And it's also one of the things I like about Malazan. So
the convergence, man, in Malazan, the convergence.
they both have that avalanche ending. Like, that is definitely a thing in Stormlight and Malazan.
I mean, in the Bone Hunters, it even happened like before the middle part of the book.
Oh my god, dude. I mean, the Bone Hunters is 2 books, let's be honest.
Yeah,
it's 2 books
it is.
Erickson's actually even said that. Oh, I'm catching. We have so many chats. I'm catching up. Bull Booktuber says, Petrik, my advice to anyone who truly wants to try audiobooks is to start with doing an audio for a reread of a book series you already love. And Alan actually said this as well and said it worked really well for him.
Oh, I don't think I've tried this before.
Yeah, so like Mistborn, I know you're rereading Mistborn. How's that going, by the way? Is it good?
Yeah, it's great. It's going well, as well as the first time I read it. I am biased about Mistborn. I know that this isn't as good as Stormlight, but I just love being back in this world.
Yeah, I can totally respect that. I actually really want to. I don't think I'll ever reread book 2 and 3 of that trilogy, but I would love to reread book 1 again, because I liked book 1 a lot.
Kratos very cool. Are interested.
This is Colin. I can't agree more. Says Berserk is the best manga. I would never tell anyone to read. I never recommend it. I never
Why?
recommend it. Dude, it's so dark.
Yeah, it is. It is
There,
so dark. It is so dark.
there's just some things in that story that I would never want to surprise somebody with.
Mhm.
Because it is real stuff. You know what I mean? I mean, it's stuff that people deal with. And for some people, that's therapeutic. For some people, it is not.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
respect that. I respect that a lot. So it's hard to recommend, man. It's really
Yeah,
hard.
it has so many trigger warnings.
Yes. And me and Rockio talked about it. And if you go back and watch, we're just tiptoeing around what, like you can't say it. Like,
yeah.
My dude's talking manga I do with my friend Andrew. It's hard because there's some things that you just don't want to be on video saying, but it's stuff that I do think is worth talking about because it is real. It happens to people. And Berserk, I know from my comments of people who have went through real life traumas, and they say it is portrayed in Berserk and it helped me get through it. So I think that's one of the highest testaments you can give to a piece of art. And I think Miura is just he's a genius.
Berserk is something special. I think he nailed one simple concept extremely well, and that is that to never give up. Yeah, it is the real meaning of guts. I mean, that world is absolutely vile.
Makes Westeros look like Disney World.
Yeah, I know, and he just never give up. He got guts.
Struggler.
Yeah, a struggler. He's a struggler.
I might get that.
Amazing. That's truly something special.
Well, yeah, and I think that I'm not done yet, but my experience so far, it's exploring one of my favorite themes in the world, and that is agency within humanity and free will. Which Prince of Nothing, coincidentally, is another one of my favorite pieces of work that actually disagrees with the idea that we have free will. Prince of Nothing, the philosophy behind Prince of Nothing, from what I've gathered and what I've read, is that biologically we're programmed to make certain decisions. And what if someone could manipulate those decisions?
Ooh, would you say that it is nihilism?
Oh, definitely. Prince of Nothing?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Very, people say, oh, Abercrombie's not, he's nihilist. No. Scott Baker is nihilist.
He's not he's a realist.
yeah. That's a good way. That's a good way of putting it. I do not believe that Prince of Nothing paints a very positive picture of humanity. And that's I see people compare Malazan to Prince of Nothing a lot.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I've been very fortunate to have conversations with Erickson and stuff, and the works are two different things. I think that Malazan actually has a very positive look on humanity. Once you read it and you look into it and you see kind of like what's going on behind the scene. I mean, I really believe that Malazan is, as everyone always says, is about compassion and empathy. But that is because the author believes in that. I think he has a very positive outlook on humans and an agency and free will. And I think R. Scott Baker has the exact opposite, at least in his work. I don't know as a person, which is fine. They're two competing ideas, but there's some similarities in the density and the way that they approach narrative. But I think the meanings and the intent behind the work are very, very different.
I really have to chat with Stephen Erickson someday. Maybe after I've read The God Is Not Willing. I haven't read that one yet.
It's so good.
Oh yeah,
bro, it's so good. It's the best of Malazan with like all the stuff that people like. It's a hit or miss. All that's out. It's just the best.
Oh, nice.
Marine banter, Tobler.
Philip has been talking about it, and he even mentioned that I think it's a great starting point for anyone who wants to start Malazan. What do you think about it?
I'd like to hear Philip. I've thought about this question because here's the thing. I want to do a review for it, but I don't want to do a spoiler review because I'm going to do a chat with Joanna and Alan. So I don't want to say everything I got to say and then get in the conversation, repeat myself. I hate repeating myself. So I was like, do I do a spoiler free? Like, does anyone want a spoiler free? Because my feeling after I read it personally was that you should read it after the main 10. Like, I don't know if it would be as good. And it would also ruin some stuff from like Toll the Hounds.
Yeah. I'm usually like you. I always say read everything in publication order. Always.
Publication order,
Order.
folks.
Yeah,
All right.
that's what I always say. Almost all of the times. I mean, there's like some exceptions, but that doesn't happen frequently.
Yeah. There are a few exceptions. Sometimes even in like a writer's, you might just hate his first works, right? I mean, I'll,
Mm.
I'll be honest. I didn't like Brian Staley's first book at all. Emperor's
Oh yeah,
Blade,
I saw that. I saw
not for
that.
me. But you are so high on Empire's Ruin that I'm like, maybe I should just read his new stuff, you know?
Maybe, yeah. You
Um,
know, Brad Stafford, I think for me, his first trilogy is great, but they're not amazing. I actually didn't plan to continue with reading Brad Stafford's after I finished the first trilogy for years. I didn't plan to, and then my current wife, my wife now, my current wife. It's as if I've married before. Yeah, no. I mean, my wife got me a Skull Sworn. Yeah, so I thought, you know what? This is a standalone novel, so I thought I might as well give it a try. And wow, that standalone novel, in my opinion, is better than the entire trilogy for me. Okay, I know that a
yeah,
lot of people doesn't like reading that standalone book too, but it just hit with me. I think
it's
Brian
cool.
Safley's writing in that book is just on another level, in my opinion.
That's awesome. Yeah. And
Yeah.
authors do grow and they do get better and they get feedback and then they learn from their experiences. So I try
Mm.
not to write authors off unless if I think it's like truly terrible, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I gave Robert Jordan 5 books, and I'm like, come on.
That's a lot. That's plenty. That's plenty.
Come on, Bobby. What are you
I
doing?
I usually give an author like 2 or 3 books. If 3 books by them doesn't click with me, that's it. That's it
Yeah.
for me. Usually.
My fuse is a little shorter now, because
Yeah.
I have a pretty good plan of things I want to get through, and like
Mm,
there's stuff I'm really excited to read, like
yeah.
really excited that I'm not going to get to for maybe 2 years.
Yeah.
For instance, Jacqueline Carey's books.
Oh
I know that.
yeah. I want to read that.
Yeah, I saw. I think Daniel Green did a review recently, but I've been wanting to read those since I got into book 2 because Chris Bookish Cauldron was like, if you can get past all the sexual stuff, it is
Yeah.
phenomenal. And
Mm,
there's like parallels to real world religion, and I've heard it's really trippy, and I'm
oh.
really I'm really interested in it. So it's just hard whenever a book strikes out, and you're like, well, when do I try this author again?
I
It's
know.
tough.
I made that series, and also Tad Williams. My priority series to read last year, and I still haven't read both of them. See how bad this is.
Yeah, man. I need to read his sequel stuff, but I'm gonna wait till all the books are out because they're very dense. And like Ostenart is a world that I clearly love a lot. Like it's the
Mm,
only lore video I've ever made. And I don't want to jump in and out. I don't want to do that.
yeah.
Like whenever I do it, I'm gonna read them all at once in a row and just live in Ostenart again because there's something rich about it that it really clicks with me.
That's my plan. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so. I thought that the last book in the what's the name? The Last King of Austin Art will
Yes.
be released last year, but it's not. I think the last book will be released early next year. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And
So
and they changed the covers, and I'm furious.
I hate that, man. I despise that cover
So bad.
change. So stupid.
I even
Unbelievable.
tweeted at him. I said,
Yeah,
just
me
stop.
too. I don't do that. I don't usually do that, but I was just so pissed.
And the thing about it is, dude, the cover's not even bad. It's just not Ostenard. Like
Yeah, exactly.
Michael Whalen is everything, and for what,
Yeah.
40 years he's been doing the covers? Like,
Yeah.
just do the last 2, dude.
Yeah. Oh my God. Door books, what have you done?
Eric Gwynn, thank you for the 5 spot, man. Sorry it took so long to recognize you. He said, I can't stay long, but I wanted to show some love. Both you guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Eric.
Man,
Is it?
Petrik, I feel like I have so much to say to you because we haven't been messaging as much recently. So like
Yeah.
I'm just vomiting all this stuff at you. I'm sorry.
It's okay, man. It's the same for me. I haven't chatted with first
Yeah, you were busy,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah, this one. Yeah, and yeah, I was busy. I was busy, so I couldn't chat with a lot of people. I think Sarah also talked about this that yeah we haven't been chatting a lot, but now we have started chatting again. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's nice.
Sarah's one of those people just like you and just like a lot of my friends on BookTube. I might go weeks without speaking to one of you, but you're always there,
Yeah,
and it's always nice to be able to pick up right where you left off. That's actually why I love this show so much.
yeah, yeah.
It gives me an excuse to sit down and talk to you for 2 hours, otherwise, my wife would be like, why are you still on your phone at midnight? And I'm like, Petrik just woke up.
Okay, that's a good excuse.
Oh man. Or on I think it's 2,000,004 maybe. Sorry, I'm like 20 minutes behind, but I just have to say, I just read Curse of the Mistwraith. It's really good, but it's super slow paced, like more than Hob. Well, I love slow.
I think the reason behind the slow pacing of Curse of the Mistwraith is that the writing is just more dense.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to take some time to get through. Oh, thank you, Ivy. Said, I remember when you were reading Stormlight, Jimmy, I couldn't wait to get through your reviews. Those were a lot of fun to film. Oh, Connor says, Petrik, thank you for introducing some self-pub last year, like ML Spencer's Dragon Mage and Lietzau's Dream of the which I have back there, thanks to you. What is the next big self-pub hit?
Oh, I still have a lot of self-pub books to read, but right now I'm thinking is Illborn. Yeah, Illborn by Daniel T. Jackson. So if you haven't read that one, make sure to check it out. That's still, even though this is almost the end of April, that's still my favorite book of the year.
Really?
Yeah. And that's one of the, I think, was that the first book? No, that's one of the first few books that I read in January. And it is still my favorite book of the year.
Wow. How long is it? Is it standalone?
No, it's not. It's not a standalone.
It's book. Okay. Is it a thickie or is it
definitely a thickie? I think 700 pages long.
Oh man, come on.
It doesn't feel that way to me. And believe me, I think a lot of fantasy books right now, because maybe this is because I was so busy too, it felt longer than necessary. The one that I've read anyway. Yeah, the one that I've read this year anyway. Yeah, I love Michael Fletcher's book, especially his Manifest Delusions. It is grimdark fantasy though, so if you haven't read, so if you don't like grimdark fantasy, do not try his stuff. His stuff is definitely grimdark stuff.
Yeah, that's one that's been recommended to me ad nauseum, and it's one that I want to get to. Probably another big priority for next year as well, because I get a lot of grimdark fans because I've read Baker, and I don't think Malazin's grimdark, but some people do.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't at all. But some people do put it in that category, and I love Abercrombie, Song of Ice and Fire. So people who watch my channel tend to like grimdark, and I feel like I really need to do a better job of reading deeper. Like Slowly Read is the biggest grimdark channel in my opinion, and he's read all of Fletcher and many other things, and I need to like go through his back catalog, and get some more experience under my belt before I can be one of the grimdark gurus.
Gurus.
Oh man. So many chats tonight. Everyone showed up for the late night special edition.
I thought I think I talk about this with Sarah because this conversation with Nuts is starting later than usual, right? then I said to her, what if no one come to watch? It would be so bad.
Oh no, dude. No, I'm way too popular for that. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, Mobo says I'm reading Revelation.
Yeah. Right now. I'm close to halfway through the series now. Revelations is incredible too. That's one of the series that
another one
that I always said, make sure to control your expectations because people went on a high after reading through that series. But for me, the first two books are really they're okay.
Yeah, I've heard it takes some time for him to kind of come into his own a little bit.
Yeah, even Michael Sullivan, he himself mentioned that he intentionally wrote the series for the last few books to be the best of the series, which was a bad decision for him because he should have made all the books the best of the series, right?
Yeah, generally you do that. You try, at least.
Right? Yeah, but he intentionally made the first few books to be the weakest. Yeah, so yeah.
Interesting strategy.
I know.
Bold
but
move.
it kind of worked out well if you actually read through the entire series. The last two books are incredible.
Yeah.
Do you guys
Yeah,
like Michael Crichton?
he's one that I really need to check out. Ivy says, "Do you guys like Michael Crichton? I know he is in fantasy, but I really like his books. I've never read him, but a lot of his stuff sounds really interesting to me.
I haven't read any of his books.
Yeah, he's like one of the non-fantasy people I'd like to make a priority. But there's so much good stuff out there, and we were talking in my patron Discord this week. Someone said, "Okay, guys, what's your like guilty pleasure?" And I can't remember what theirs was. It was something like pretty wild. Maybe it was like Twilight or something. But some people were saying, I'm really into reading like the big fiction books, like Silent Patient and stuff like that. And Where the Crawdads Sing. And I'm like, I would like to try some of those out because they're like yay big. They're not that big.
Yeah.
And it would be fun to maybe read books that other people that aren't fantasy people have read so I can talk about. I think it'd be fun to expand my horizons just a smidge.
How about I forgot the name suddenly. Oh yeah. Boy's Life by Robert McCammon.
Yes. I've heard it's so good. I haven't read it, but I'm reading Swan Song by him in September or October.
Okay, yeah. Swan Song is more popular than Boy's Life, but Boy's Life is one of the best books that I've read. And yeah, it is. I don't think it is categorized as fantasy. I'm not sure what genre to put that in anyway.
Yeah, Boy's Life is one that I want to read really bad. The reason I'm doing Swan Song first is because it's post-apocalyptic. And I'm like, I'm in. That sounds great. And I'm planning on doing that and It are my two big non-fantasy reads this year. Like, they're big. They're like 900 a piece. And then Boy's Life will be 2020 or probably early 2023. I know Baron, who is Your Brain on Books on BookTube, he's really big into both of those books. So I can't wait to read Boy's Life. I heard it's so good.
I will be curious to hear your thoughts because for some reason, I think I've seen people who love The Stand doesn't really like Swan Song, but people who love Swan Song doesn't really like The Stand. Well, that's what I've seen anyway. So I'm not sure. We'll see.
If I know myself, I'll love both and piss off both audiences. Whenever it's one or the other, I always end up in the middle, and then no one likes me, and I'm like, this is perfect. Right where I need to be.
Well, or maybe both of them like you.
Well, I'm a big believer that if everyone's slightly unhappy that you're doing the right thing, I believe that is kind of the compromise in the world. So I'm just going to use that as my excuse. Colin asks, Jimmy and Petrik, have you read all of Chronicles of Amber? I've read the first two books. I thought book one was awesome. Book two was okay. I will continue and read all 10 eventually. Have you read them, Petrik?
Is that by Zelani?
Yes, Roger Zelazny. Yep.
Sorry, Zelazny. Yeah, I haven't read that.
I got the omnibus. It's like yay big.
Oh wow! Oh, is that 4 books?
10.
What?
Yeah. So well, they're short, dude. The first one's really good. And also, whenever you read it, dude, you'll see, dude, Robert Jordan took a lot of stuff from Roger Zelazny. I think Germ took a lot from Zelazny. Gaiman says, Zelazny is one of the most influential authors on me, which is cool coming from Neil Gaiman. But yeah, I thought book one was really good. And then book two was like, but I've heard that they get really good later on. So we'll see. They're short.
This is a classic, right?
Oh yeah. 70s.
Yes.
This was very much predating. This came around the same time, I believe, as Thomas Covenant. But you'll recognize some of the words that are used. Things like the pattern.
Oh yeah.
Maybe a weave or two.
Okay.
And it's like, oh, Bobby Jordan, you dirty man. Of course, I'm not insinuating he copied. I'm just saying he was heavily influenced. That's all. Diego said, would you read Memory of Sorrow and Thorn before reading Faithful and the Fallen, or this order doesn't matter in your opinion? I would read Memory and Sorrow and Thorn before, personally.
Oh, why?
So for me, I'm pretty big on reading genre in chronological order as much as possible because it gets harder and harder to go back because naturally the pace of especially fantasy has picked up over the last 10 years. I see people, Petrik, I see people now picking up, Song of Ice and Fire, and they're like, this is too old. This is so slow. And like, I get it. If it's not your cup of tea, that's fine. If you think it's boring, I don't care. But there are people who like think it's like hard to read, and I'm like, it's English. Nice.
Well, I think it's kind of hard, I guess, because modern fantasy definitely has faster pacing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have read plenty of modern fantasy, it's kind of hard now.
It is hard. And you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
I think Faithful and the Fallen is actually, and I remember saying this to the Gwen boys at one time when I collabed with them, and I said, you know, I think your dad definitely had a lot of Tad Williams inspiration as far as like
Hmm.
his approach to just the richness of the world. And I think that they would complement each other very well. Memories on Thorn's very methodical in its approach, and the character payoffs towards the end are just, in my opinion, incredible. But John Gwen is so fast paced. You know,
Yeah.
it would be hard, I think, to read Faithful and the Fallen and then jump into Dragonbone Chair. It would be
especially
shock.
I think many people mention how relatively slow Dragonbone Chair is.
You know, it's crazy though. A bunch of people have been reading it recently, and I was always a big, proponent of, if you get through Dragonbone Chair, you'll love Stone of Farewell and Three Angel Tower. It was flipped this time. A lot of people loved the Dragonbone Chair, and then like thought Stone of Farewell and the Green Angel Tower were like okay. I loved all three, but I thought that was interesting because like, whenever I was getting into the fandom of it and reading reviews and talking to people, they said, "Oh, just get through DBC, just get through it. Like once you're through it, you're good." Whereas these people kind of said, after Dragonbone Chair, I didn't like it as much.
This is why opinions always differs.
Yes, and it's all anecdotal. It's all about who you talk to, right?
Yeah.
We get these narratives in our head in our little group that we have here on BookTube, and we say, these are the popular authors. Like I laugh when people say John Gwen is overhyped or overpraised on BookTube, and it's like 100,000 people, folks. Like it's not that many people. I promise.
Yeah, seriously. I think there's also this is something that I noticed. There's also kind of an illusion that some authors or some works are actually more popular than they already are
Yes.
on BookTube, because we talk about them on BookTube a lot. You see them on videos, but in reality, they're actually not that famous compared to many other work.
Yep. If you want a good example of this, Brandon Sanderson's the biggest working, actually present in the genre author today. And out of all the books he sold, he is still not outsold George. Now he will one day. But George R. R. Martin, then that kind of just shows you like there's this huge disparity in what we consider to be popular and what's actually popular. Stephen King is popular.
Exactly. So popular.
I mean, even if you look at the Goodreads awards, Joe Abercrombie and Brandon Sanderson can't even get close to Sarah J. Maas. And she's not popular.
She's just not popular on adult fantasy community, but she is so popular.
And I guess that's what I'm saying. She's huge, but she's nowhere near a Stephen King, right? So it's just interesting. The optics change whenever you take a step back, which is why I just always laugh. And it seems like it's always John Gwen. People just like love to say how unjust it is that John Gwen is praised, as if like everyone's lying about it or something.
No, if anything, he should get more praise.
Yeah, I mean, he's a consistent author, and he's no one's going to be for everybody. But the guy's consistent. He puts out good works, and he's doing his own thing. I love John,
and plus he's a great guy.
Yes, that doesn't hurt. It certainly doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
I can't wait to read Hunger of the Gods. I was shocked by the site. I didn't really keep up with the release and stuff of this one just because I've been busy, but it's a thick one, man. It's like 650 pages.
I know we will be talking about the Hunger of the Gods, right? Eventually, in that getting the war band back together. But I actually think that I know that we have mentioned about this. I think I talked about this with you and also Abby, that we want John Gwen to write bigger books again. But I think for this particular trilogy, I actually kind of want the page count to be decreased for the Hunger of the Gods. Really? I never expect I would say that, but I think I still love the book, by the way, but I think some part of the Hunger of the Gods did get a bit repetitive. But I'm kind of on the unpopular opinion on this, even though I still gave it like 4.5 stars. I think many people love the Hunger of the Gods.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Actually, most of the people that I talk to, which again is all anecdotal, they've actually enjoyed book 2 more than book 1.
Yeah,
which is wild. I like what
This
Connor
is
said here. He said he just finished Hunger of the Gods, very fast paced, followed up with Ship of Magic by Hobb, very slow, and I enjoyed the change of pace. Diversity and storytelling keeps things fresh. I agree.
nice. I agree
Very
with
much
that.
so.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree so much on that.
Yeah, I think it's huge. Actually, this could be like the best reading month of my life. I think I'm going to talk about
Wow.
it in my wrap up. I mean, like the Ted Chiang stories, Grace of Kings. I'm reading Fire and Blood, which I love. I know some people don't love it, but oh my god, I love it.
Wait,
Excalibur.
is this your first time reading? No, right?
First time reading Fire and Blood cover to cover. I've read almost all of it in pieces. I've never sat
Oh,
down and read it cover to cover.
oh,
It
I
would.
see.
Here's what would happen. I'd watch a video and they'd be like, whatever happened in this time, and I go, oh god, and I'd flip open Fire and Blood, read that section.
Oh, yeah.
I did that. I've done that over the years, but I've never read it cover to cover. I gotta tell you,
see.
I freaking love it.
I think I made a mistake in reading Fire and Blood. Close to the time I read World of Ice and Fire. I think I
Yeah.
read them too close, so it got repetitive very, very quickly for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Because there's actually parts like literally lifted out of Fire and Blood. I'm gonna read the World of
Exactly.
Ice and Fire, but I'm gonna wait a little bit. Again, I flipped through it. I know what's in there, but
Mhm.
I'd like to read it cover to cover just for fun. Man, I'll tell you what though, Petrik, Excalibur, Grace of Kings, and Fire and Blood, they're all so different, but they still have that kind of history feel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, even though this has been maybe the best reading month of my life, there wasn't enough diversity in there. And I think that's why the stories of your life and others was so good, because it was totally different than the other stuff that I was reading. And I needed to be more conscious of spreading out my reading in a manner that things are like very different, right? Like I really want to read the Jen Williams trilogy. And I think that'd be a good one to go to next, because I know it's a little bit more like John Gwent. Like it's more into that realm of fantasy. But Warlord, Fire and Blood, Grace of Kings, those are all very history heavy. So I should have done a better job. Do you do that whenever you play in your TBR? Do you try to make sure you're getting a little bit of everything?
Not really, but somehow I just got them all. Yeah, but so apparently when I read this, this one is Asian inspired, I'm going to read this one, and then this one is like Middle East inspired, I'm going to read this one as well. But yeah, I don't put restriction on my TBR. Basically, anything that looks interesting, I will try to read them.
Yeah. And some stuff jumps the line. Like, for instance, I knew that Grace of Kings and Fire and Blood would probably be somewhat similar just because of like things I had heard. I mean, they're not similar, but it's the narrative style, right? I didn't care. I said, I'm starting Grace of Kings. I've been waiting so long, and I'm so glad I did. Really, really am. Reading Rainbow says James Patterson is probably the top selling author, but I've never been the slightest bit tempted to pick up one of his books. I mean, there's a lot. My wife reads Colleen Hoover and just adores her. And she's very popular, but I'm never reading Colleen Hoover. It's never happening.
Is that the It Ends With Us book?
Bro, she whatever makes my wife cry. That's all I know. It's like looking over and there's just tears coming out. I'm like, what's happening? Now, if it's a Robin Hobb book, I'm fine. I'm okay with that.
But it's not, right?
Yeah, she is in Assassin's Quest, so she's making her way through Farseer right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, very cool. Oh, Jimmy, if you love post-apocalyptic, read Roadside Picnic by Arkady and Boris Strugatsky. I butchered that name, but
Strugatsky. Yeah, I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that one either, actually. Jimmy, I would just like to say I read Hellmouth after your recommendation. Is pretty messed up, but it was great.
Yeah.
Have you read it?
Yeah, I did. It's so good.
It's
by Giles
so
Christian,
good.
right? Speaking of Giles Christian, now that you've read Warlord Chronicles, you should read Lancelot.
I've heard it's really good.
Oh my god, it is brilliant, Jimmy. It is brilliant. I thought that the Warlord Chronicles would never be matched in Arthurian retelling, but yeah, Giles Christian proved that wrong. Yeah, that good. So good.
Hellmouth won me over. I actually ordered book one, and he has another trilogy. I think it's like a Viking-inspired trilogy. I actually ordered book one.
Yeah, he did.
I ordered it.
Raven?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's like Raven something. But I ordered it because Giles Christian, I thought Hellmouth was just fantastic. Nick just said Jimmy butchering That name, I'm not even gonna try it again. I know.
Pain. Pain.
Nick, I've had a lot of concussions, bro. I've taken a lot of chair shots. You know, it is what it is.
How
I'm
do you
sorry.
pronounce that? Strigatsky? Strigatsky?
Yeah, apparently I didn't do it. I'm not the one to ask.
Roadside reading.
I've had Promise of Blood on my TBR for a while now. I'm thinking of reading it soon. I've not checked out any of them.
That's by Brad McClellan.
Yeah, yeah, and I know Alan has not enjoyed them, but he's reading like all of them.
Oh,
because he likes Flintlock fantasy.
Okay, yeah.
But he hates like every book in the Powder Mage, but like he won't stop reading them, and I love it.
Why do we do? Oh my God, Alan.
Jason, did I hear Promise of Blood? Yeah, you did.
Promise of Blood.
Nick, thank you for the pass, my friend. I appreciate it.
Russian names are hard.
They are. Man, I struggle with English names. I mean, the fact that I have a channel where I talk is silly.
I'm still struggling always with BookTube, always. But yeah, I'm doing.
Actually, I wanted to ask you that. What are the challenges going from you've done such an amazing job with your written reviews? How hard was it to transition to BookTube?
Extremely hard for me. Yeah. Extremely hard. Is how do I say this? It's definitely a different field. Yeah. It's not the same at all. So even though it has been more than a year of me doing BookTube, and it's still difficult for me. I mean, I'm getting better at editing stuff, but the talking stuff, wow, that is still a challenge for me.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, I'll take some credit. I was pushing you really hard to get on YouTube.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm glad I did, because you've done a great job. But you've gotten so much better, even since your first video, and everyone does. But seeing you start to work with the thumbnail game, doing some editing. I mean, you're doing good, man. You're doing really good.
Thank you, man. These are definitely outside of my comfort zone. It still is, and I think I'm getting better at this. But just last night, I just recorded a book haul video. And my God, somehow that video it was so hard to do. I don't know why. Sometimes that just happened.
Yeah, sometimes I sit down, bro, and I hit record and I just don't got it, and I'm just like, today ain't the day.
It's one of those days.
Yeah. I try to always do a video a week. This week I didn't have my normal like review video, and I do pretty much almost all reviews, which I will say is very difficult, because reviews are pretty hard to do. But I didn't get it out this week because I was so busy. And plus I had just done Dudes Talking Manga and I knew I had this. So I was like, it's okay. Like I could do without, but there is like a pressure for me to like want to make sure I'm reviewing and updating people on what I'm reading and stuff. But it is hard. I mean, I've had times where I've sat down 2 days in a row, like, okay, today's the day. And like, I don't have it. And I start talking, I'm fumbling my words. I can't find the right words, and it's just like, damn, you got to be on, which, let's be honest, that's silly. I should just record the thing and throw it up. But for some reason, I take this super serious. Like I want to do a good job. That's just how.
Look, I'm the same. I mean, I want to do a good job too, and plus, this video will be watched by plenty of people. So I don't.
You're big time, man.
Nah. Your channel is doing really well too, and I'm really happy.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, you almost gave up on BookTube. What were you thinking?
I almost give up on BookTube like once a week. I mean, the biggest hurdle for me has always been and always will be is like, who am I to have a channel and why am I talking? You know what I mean? There's a certain amount of ego that comes with doing this type of thing, and I struggle with that quite a bit for whatever reason. But I don't know. I'm loving what I'm doing though. I'm having so much fun, and when you were getting married, I'm doing house hunting, and it's stressful stuff, the real world stuff. And this is like my safe haven to come to and to relax. Literally 2 minutes before you joined in, I just lost out on another house, and it's like, so it's so deflating. But God damn it, Petrik, I'm having a great time talking to you, bro.
It's the same here, man. Even though
You
this is
know?
early in the morning, but yeah, I'm having a great time. I'm not a
Yeah.
morning person usually.
You fooled me. I think every time we've collabed, it's been in the morning for us and the evening for you.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that. Seriously, I really appreciate that. I mean, I know that my time zone is hard because I'm the only one in a different side, different side of the world, and I'm really glad that people are making that time for me.
Yeah, time zones are hard, but it's worth it, I think, to come together and be able to share from different walks of life and different experiences and different reading experience levels too, right? Like you've been through mounds and mounds of books, and I'm still trying to get through all your recommendations as you pile on my TBR every time you review a damn book.
But hey, now you're piling on my TBR too, like Sun Eater and now Prince of Nothing.
The fact that you're reading Sun Eater makes me very happy. Makes
Yeah,
me very happy.
yeah.
Oso had a question for us. He said, "Do you two script yourself or just let it roll when the camera starts recording?" I have bullet points for a book, and I just let it roll. How about you, Petrik?
It depends. Sometimes for reviews, I script myself for reviews, but not always. But yeah, sometimes I script myself for reviews because I've written them, right. I've written the
Right.
reviews usually. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
just speak them out loud, with a few caveats that I'm actually talking. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then other than that, yeah, just bullet points. For anything else, just bullet points.
Yeah, sometimes it's bullet points. If I do it like fresh off finishing a book, like Grace of Kings, like I pretty much closed it. I think within a day I reviewed it. I just went. Like I didn't even look at my notes. Like I knew exactly what I wanted to say. And then in
Mm,
my patron Discord, a lot of times, not all the time, because life's hard, gets in the way. But if I can, I like updating people like with my thoughts, right? As I read stuff. And sometimes I just look back at my thoughts and I'm like, okay, that's kind of like how I felt about this book, like going through, and I can watch my reactions.
mm,
And then kind of formulate like, well, okay, well, why did that work for me? That's been more important to me lately in my reviews is the why,
yeah,
not so much what. Because I can say like, this was sick and I like this, but now digging deeper and like, well, why does that work? And that's part of the fun.
yeah, yeah.
Diego asked, Jimmy, without spoilers, how did you feel about the Dark Tower ending? I'm just finishing Wizard of Glass myself. Petrik, do you intend to read it in case you haven't? I love the Dark Tower ending. I think it is the perfect fitting ending to that. And I can't say anything else because it'll ruin it. So Petrik hasn't
Uh,
read this.
I haven't read. I have read only the first book, Dark Tower, but that was so many years ago. So many years
Yeah.
ago.
So you read
I
The
thought,
Gunslinger, right?
yeah, The Gunslinger.
Okay.
It was in my school library. I picked it up. I also read The Mist. The Mist. Yeah, The
Yeah.
Mist. Yeah, The Mist. Yeah, it was in a library and just picked it up and read it. I remember I actually enjoyed reading The Mist, but because English is my third language, right? I don't think I understand what's going on in the Gunslinger back then. I was still in middle school,
I don't think
and
Stephen
yeah.
King knew what's going on in The Gunslinger.
Oh my
The first
god.
time I read Gunslinger, I was not a fan. And then I read it again and now I love it. So
Okay,
maybe you'll
okay.
find it different. The one thing I always say about Dark Tower is there are a lot of Western pop culture references in it. And I think that could
Mm,
miss possibly with
mm,
someone who's not always into like the older stuff in Western pop culture. But, largely there's a lot of people who also, do love it that aren't necessarily from the West. So I always wonder how that'll land with people across the world. I love Dark Tower, dude. You'll never read anything else like it.
so
It's like
different, man.
Malazan in that way, like you'll never read anything like Malazan ever again.
Yeah,
That Dark Tower is its own beast. It's so funny. So funny, dude.
yeah. But the ending, I heard very mixed things about the ending.
I love it. I love
Mm,
it. I think if I had waited 30 years, I would have been maybe a little upset. But personally, I thought it was
ah,
amazing. I had
okay,
other issues. I had other issues with the last book, but not the ending.
okay, okay.
And largely overall, I loved it. Dark Tower would be in the top 10 series for me. Um,
Mm.
Connor says, I'm also house hunting like you, Jimmy. Sorry to hear that. Did you find yourselves picturing where all your books will go in the new house? Yeah, it's like the first thing, Like if a house has built-in bookshelves in the wall, it goes up the list
Yeah,
immediately.
always. By the way, I'm actually kind of curious about this, and this is not books related, but
Mhm.
it's related to house stuff.
Yeah.
But do people in America moves a lot?
It depends. It depends on the area. It depends on the person. Like in my life, I mean,
Mm,
renting, I've probably
mm.
moved like 6 times.
Wow.
Yeah, and I moved states. I've lived in 3 states. All within like
Mm,
3 hours of each other though, so it's not like too drastic. But I know plenty of people who have moved 10, 11, 12 times. When you're
yeah.
renting, when you buy a house, most of the time, like maybe you get one more, but
Mhm.
it's dependent. It's dependent. I will say this: it's very expensive to move right now. So
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
most people are trying to hunker down.
Crazy, man. Yeah, because
Yeah,
I see many people move like so often.
yeah. I mean, the thing is, you're trying to chase that sweet spot on rent. So when you're renting,
Mhm.
they up your rent every year, every year, every year.
Yeah, yeah.
When I first moved to this area, um, I think the rent for a 2-bedroom apartment was like $1,400 a month. Within 2 years, it was 2,000. $600
Wow.
increase in 2 years. Yeah, I mean that's crazy.
$600.
So me and the wife
That
are
is
like,
crazy.
we're out of here. Yeah, and then you just try to find the next best deal.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, everyone's asking me, do you think about book space? Yes, definitely.
Come on, that shouldn't even be a question. We will always be thinking about book space.
I met a guy at the ICFA conference. His name was Pete. I can't remember or maybe it was Peter. Um,
Okay.
he was a friend of Steven Erickson's, and he told me that he bought a bigger house just so he could fit all of his books.
Wow,
Like
that's dedication.
he started collecting popular Canadian fiction, and he actually has like a lot. It's a licensed library. That's how many books he
Ah,
has. Um,
wow.
like he is recognized as a library, and I think he said he had to move into like a 4-bedroom house so he could fit all of his books.
That is impressive.
Isn't that crazy?
Crazy.
Like I think I have a problem, but that's next level stuff. Reading Rainbow says, I'm on the very last chapter of The Crippled God, one chapter left in Malazan Book of the Fallen. It feels bittersweet. Definitely my number one
Oh
series of
yeah,
all time. Man, soak it in. Soak
yeah.
it in. It's a
That la-
hell of an ending.
that's kind of one of the benefit of reading a long series. By the end, it's just so bittersweet. It's just something like that. Is that the satisfaction you can only? It's hard to explain, but you can only get it from reading a long series,
Yes.
like Assassin's Creed. I think that ending just wow,
Oh,
so many emotions in that last few chapters.
yeah. That'll stick with me I will never forget the moments that I read those.
Yeah,
Yeah. Never, and um that's why we like endings, that's why people give
yeah.
King Killer and stuff a hard time because we like endings. But I will say this, and I've actually been considering maybe linking up with like maybe Bookborn because she does a lot of these kind of topics. But I think inherently endings are always polarizing, no matter
Yeah.
what they are. We look at something like The Sopranos, on HBO in America. When it first aired, that ending got dunked on, and now it's considered one of the best endings in television.
Oh, I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I can't. I can't say what happens at The Sopranos in case anyone here hasn't watched it, but it was a bold move by the
Mhm.
creator, and he wanted to do it a certain way, and HBO was like, "You're out of your mind,"
Yeah.
and he did it. And when I watched it, years later, I binged it, so I didn't care. I loved it. I thought it was excellent. I think that Dark Tower is like that. So I think
Ah,
endings just in themselves are built to be controversial. Like sometimes we just don't want stuff to end, you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
Like, how about this? This is a stupid internet blanket statement. I think 20% of a fandom will always be mad at an ending no matter what, just because it's over.
Oh, yeah,
And then
yeah,
if you mess it up, you automatically go from like 20 to like 50. You know what I mean? Like you already are at a handicap trying to end this amazing thing,
yeah.
which is why Breaking Bad is so impressive as a television show because I think most people love that ending.
Oh, I love that ending, Breaking Bad.
Yes. It's so tough to land endings. It's the toughest thing. Maybe as equally as hard as getting an idea or something to pick up in the pop culture sphere and to become successful. Like those two things are just wildly difficult.
Many people mention that everything we consume is about journey before destination, so the ending shouldn't matter too much. But the ending really sticks, especially with many people. The ending sticks, and usually the stuff that you remember
Yeah,
after you finish the series.
are you someone that like for instance like a Lightbringer? I think you finished that, right? Is that correct or no?
Yeah.
So I know the ending of that's pretty lackluster. Did it ruin Lightbringer for you?
See, this is a great example. I think it kind of did. It kind of did.
Wow.
It's not actually the actual reading experience is not actually too bad. I still gave it 4 stars because I didn't feel bored. It was still enjoyable, but the stuff that happened just, in my opinion, contradict the brilliant things about the first 3 books. So yeah, it's kind of hard to recommend when something like that happened.
Yeah, it's also dependent on how you bungle the ending, right?
Yeah.
It could just be kind of anticlimactic. But I think I've never read Lightbringer, but I kind of know what happens. Felt like a betrayal of a lot of the great stuff that he built on.
Exactly.
At least that's how I've heard it described. I don't, I shouldn't even be talking about it because I haven't read it. I'm doing the thing I hate. But I think that is pretty egregious. Like that can really mess up the rest of it. But for instance, unfinished things like A Song of Ice and Fire don't bother me at all. I don't.
That never bothered me. I mean, obviously, I want to read the continuation. That goes without question. But if it's never finished, I'm still pretty glad with what I got.
Yeah, for sure. And that's just how I've always been in life and stuff, because things are messy. We don't always get the proper goodbyes and stuff. I saw Jay say, I want Dresden to never end. I actually can see Dresden being one of those ones that have a very controversial ending. Because it's over and people have been following it for so many years. One that kind of comes to mind now.
Dresden got so good though. Yeah, Dresden. I didn't expect that would happen because I'm not a fan of his fantasy books. Codex Alera. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Codex Alera, but Dresden just clicked.
Oh, Nick didn't like the last season of Breaking Bad.
Wow. You don't have a channel, right?
anything that I love, I can usually guess that Nick will hate unless if it's Stephen King. So this is actually pretty par for the course.
I
love
know
Nick.
That.
Me and Nick have a lot of opposite opinions, but I love him.
Mm-hmm.
It's consistent, and that's what's important.
Yeah.
The ending to Lost. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people hate the ending of Lost. Nobody likes the predictable ending, but everyone gets mad when the ending doesn't go how they thought it would.
True.
Certainly. And it's hard with the longer series and stuff is that when you have time to postulate your own ending, I say this about A Song of Ice and Fire all the time. So many people have pet theories now that like, if that one little weird theory doesn't get confirmed, they're like, bah, bah. And I'm not talking about the show. I'm talking about the books.
Yeah.
People are like, I better know if, Corn Half Hand's actually Arthur Dane. And it's like, he's never going to answer that question. Why would he? Like, he doesn't need to. Or is Roose Bolton a vampire? It's like the idea, like you freaking people. Listen, the idea is that you're supposed to wonder if he's a vampire. We don't need to know. We don't need. Okay. Sometimes ambiguous is the best way because that's what gives life to a work. That's why you can sit here and theory craft. But when you wait 10 years to release a book, you're kind of asking for this, Yeah.
Do you when you read books, do you theorize a lot? Like, do you make your own theories about stuff?
So that's hard because I think that for me, I have to reread a book multiple times to start thinking about things outside of the box. Because when I first read something, I'm just trying to experience it and figure out the story, right? I would say Malazan, I started formulating theories. You know what I haven't is Stormlight. And I feel like I'm missing a piece of it because so many people, I talked to Christian and other Sanderson fans and they have all these theories and I'm so impressed by them. But I think my lack of knowledge of the Cosmere really restricts me to make bold statements, which kind of sucks. But Malazan is the one I can think of. And Robin Hobb. I had some theories with Robin Hobb. Most of them were crackpot theories. I tried to do it with Sun Eater, but by book 2, I gave up because it got so bizarre. And I was like, I don't know what the hell's happening right now. Do you formulate theories, though?
No,
no,
I don't. I mean, something sometimes pops into my head, but I don't go out of my way to take a look at every passage and, I will make a theory out of this. I don't do that.
Yeah. I mean, when I reread stuff, A Song of Ice and Fire, I've reread it so many freaking times now, dude. Like, I got some theories. None of them are good. None of them are good. They're not good. I like what Tiago says here. He says, I think we live these series for so long, they become almost like life. It's hard to accept when they end. I agree. And I hope to read Tiago's book soon, hopefully. That is another self-pub that I've heard really good things about.
Oh, a touch
of light.
Yeah, yeah. I saw Andrew review this earlier.
Yes. Okay. This is not a Song of Ice and Fire spoilers, but I love talking about this. So Oso says Roose Bolton the Vampire WTF. Well, George Railroad Martin, as I like to call him, wrote Fever Dream, which is a vampire novel, and his descriptions of vampires in Fever Dream and his description of Roose Bolton are very similar. And pretty much everyone from the Dreadfort, the people from the Dreadfort, and the Flaying and all this stuff, very vampire-like, and he's always being leeched, and he doesn't drink anything but this thick red substance. Just saying, and we'll never have it confirmed, so it's kind of silly. But I do believe that Roose Bolton is supposed to represent a Dracula maybe type character in A Song of Ice and Fire. Plus, Germ loves horror. He loves Lovecraftian horror, vampire horror. He loves it all. So I think it's very on point that Roose Bolton was supposed to be a stand-in for a vampire character, in my opinion.
Interesting.
Also, Fever Dream's phenomenal. Everyone should read it.
I haven't read that.
Yeah, it's good. It's very good. Nick says, yeah, for sure. Rothfuss is never answering all those fan theories in book 3. Stories are supposed to have mysteries. I agree. I think that's what keeps a work alive. It's also a really crafty way for authors to have things that they can link to later. Like they kind of leave it up for interpretation, and then they can use it later.
And I think authors have to be careful with answering fan theories. They don't want to be how do I say this? Like they're just doing what the fan wants.
Yes. Fan service. Yeah, fan service. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that. So I'm just blindly gonna agree with Christian. Dude, Christian, I love Christian, man. When Lost in Discovery messages me and he's like, bro, I'm like, all right, here it comes. And he's been pouring over the pages, and he just gives me some wild connection. I'm just like, what? And then he talks you through it, and you're like, I kind of believe you. I don't know anything about this, but I kind of believe
you. He's dedicated to Stormlight.
Colin wants to know, Petrik, what's for breakfast?
What?
What are you gonna have for breakfast today?
I actually gonna have fried noodle. I think I actually haven't had my breakfast yet. Yeah.
Sean asks, Petrik, have you read all the books in the Shogun series?
Is this Shogun by James Clavell? Yeah, I think this is what he meant, right? Yeah. So the first book in the Asian saga is not the first book, but one of the most popular book in the series is called Shogun by James Clavell. I think a lot of people, a lot of authors, took that book as their main inspiration for their fantasy series, even though it is a historical fiction. So I got the book. It's massive. It's more than 500,000 words, and yeah, it's thick, Jimmy. It is thick. Thick. Yeah. In hardcover, it is 1,100 pages long in hardcover. Yeah, it is massive. And so, I actually wanted to read that. I have read 200 pages, but for whatever reason, every time I read this book, I got sick, man. I literally got sick. I don't know why it happened. I've tried it 3 times. Every time I read the same page, the same chapter, I got ill, so I couldn't continue. So I don't know. It's like a curse, man. It's like a curse, and it's not even so bad. It's not like the book is bad or something. I mean, it used an omniscient narrative, so that's kind of like a pet peeve of mine. So that's probably why it felt slower than usual. Yeah. But yeah, it's not actually too bad or anything like that. I don't know why I got sick always.
It's cursed. It's pretty obvious.
It's cursed, and the book actually has some discussion about plague. So I think it just kind of transformed to me.
The doom of Valeria all over it. Man. You got to be careful over there in Valeria, bro.
Oh my god. Yeah, but yeah, I haven't read the books in Shogun.
Yeah, that's one I've always seen people like recommending or reading, and it's so intimidating. Maybe in a decade if I'm still alive, maybe I'll try it.
But Benjamin is right though. The hardcover is really nice. It's really nice.
Yeah, the last book to make Jimmy Ola's Pirates of Heaven. Yeah, circuses make me queasy.
Oh my god, those are, I mean, I enjoy it. I know this is kind of like an unpopular topic in the Wheel of Time. I think even people in the Wheel of Time community, I think some of them actually dislike the Fires of Heaven. But outside of the circus, I actually enjoyed it. But the circus, wow, that was wow. What was that?
Yeah, you ended up, kind of enjoying the book, and I remember I messaged you. I said, "Traitor."
Yeah.
I said, "You traitor, what is this?"
That was my last straw. Okay, I already said, okay, if this one doesn't click with me, that's it. I'm completely giving up on the Wheel of Time. But
I've heard book 6 is great. So
yeah, Lord of Chaos, right?
Yeah, I've heard it's really good.
Yeah, I'm going to read that, I think, in June. I think one of the biggest mistake I made with the Fires of Heaven is that I binged with the Wheel of Time. Sorry, I binged through them, and that is not a good decision. Not a good decision at all.
Nope. Yeah, and Robert Jordan repeats himself enough where like you could take a year off between books and you'll be fine.
Exactly. Yeah. I should have known about that. Yeah.
But oh my god, I kind of love this question. Let's see if it pops up here. Colin says, Jimmy and Petrik, what was the last book you fell asleep reading?
Oh wow. Okay, this must be a super boring book. I can't remember. I fell asleep.
I know what mine is.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what is it?
So this is because the book was boring. This is because I was reading it before bed, and it's a book I've been reading a chapter here and there. I actually don't know if anyone even knows I'm reading it, but it's The Damnation Game by Clive Barker. It's a book that Baron from Your Brain on Books recommended to me, and I kind of wanted to read something that was totally different than everything I was reading. And I've been reading like a chapter a night right before bed, and I fell asleep the other night. I was just exhausted. I think we looked at like 6 houses, and I was just like, and I got through like 2 words, and I was just like sleeping, and I'm like, damn it. So nothing against Clive Barker's book. It was just me being tired.
I can't remember, but I mean, there were some books where I got so tired, and when I finished a chapter, and I thought, wow, what did I just read? Nothing went into my head. But that's not because the book is bad. I mean, I was just too exhausted. As for the book that actually made me sleep, I can tell you one thing. I mean, this isn't the last one, but it's Uprooted by Naomi Novik. I hate that book. I hate that book to death.
Dude, I love when you hate something. It's like my favorite thing.
I know that people want to see Salty Petrik quite a lot. I don't know why, but come on, man. I don't like hating on books.
Well, yeah, I try to give a fair shake to anything, but sometimes you just got to let the hate flow, I mean, there are times where a book will frustrate me so much. Like Cage of Souls was a book that I just wanted to like so much, and there's so many good ideas that I was just so mad by the time I got to the end of it that I felt like it never came together. It never got out of its own way, and it was just like, I felt that way with Emperor's Blades actually as well. It was like one of those things where I was like, I like a lot of these ideas that Staveley's looking at, but none of it clicked with me. And I was just like, damn it. I was so excited for this trilogy,
Interesting. Yeah.
Hey, Zach, what's up? Zach says Petrik is too nice to truly hate anything. I don't know. His early Wheel of Time reviews.
Oh, no, Zach. You should check out some of my negative reviews. They are
Return of the Crimson Guard.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't write a review for the Return of the Crimson Guard, but oh my god, that book was so bad.
Wait, was it Knight of Knives then? I remember there's one Esselmont book you reviewed and you did not like it.
Yeah. I wrote a review for Knight of Knives. Return of the Crimson Guard doesn't even deserve a review.
Yeah, I got to read it next. Because I'm going to read all Vice's books. And Return of the Crimson Guard is the one I'm just going to try to get through. I like Knight of Knives. That's one of the ones that we kind of differ on. I thought it was fun. Like I thought it was atmospheric, first time writing. Like I was like, this is okay. Wasn't anything revolutionary. But I had fun. I had fun in Molasses City and with the plot. I thought there were pieces that were a little bit repetitive. But overall, I had fun with it. And I've heard that the later Ice stuff, like apparently Path to Ascendancy is incredible.
Yeah, Path to Ascendancy, it has been very, very well praised.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. That's an example, right? Of someone who does an earlier book that didn't hit. Like, do you give him another shot down the line?
Yeah.
It's tough. I will say The God Is Not Willing you're going to love it.
Yeah. I think, well, it's Erickson, so I think I'm going to love it. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. You're going to love that's so exciting.
It
What is, go ahead. What were you going to say?
it is certainly on my TBR for this year. The God Is Not Willing.
Dude, I
Yeah.
can't wait to hear your thoughts on that. That's going to be so much fun.
Mhm.
So other than like Sun Eater, like, again, we kind of talk about you read so much and there's only so much things to get excited about, whatnot. What's like the one like thing in your head right now, other than Sun Eater, that you're like, I can't wait to get to that?
I have 3. Yeah. So Sun Eater is one.
Damn, all right.
Tat Williams is another one.
My man.
And another one is Wars of Light and Shadow.
Let's go.
Hmm.
Patrick,
Those
we're on,
3.
we're on the same
Yeah.
wavelength, bro.
Yeah. Those 3 are right now the one that I'm most excited about. Yeah.
Zach's checking
No,
out.
Zach, no.
Yeah, I
Oh
think
my
for
God.
me, the thing that I'm most excited about, and like it's a big mystery, like, am I gonna like Wars of Light and Shadow? And I think it's a challenge. And also I just love the big discussions. Like, they're my favorite things. So I think
If our reading for Wars of Light and Shadow matches, we should do some videos on it. I think it
absolutely.
would be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, anytime you want to do anything, Petrik, I'm down, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I think people are used to me going like 3 and 4 hours long, but we did say we had to cut this off around 2 hours. Petrik has a big Saturday ahead of him.
Yeah. I gotta
so-
go, man.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, it's all good, man.
Yeah.
But we're gonna do a part 2 for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
People
This
will
is
love
really
it.
fun. This
Yeah,
is really
dude.
fun.
Absolutely. Folks, I know you're already subscribed to Petrik, but if you're not, his channel is linked down in the description down there. Make sure to go check him out. Hit like on this video to be able to then circulate through the search items and all that stuff, and YouTube can push it up and more people can see this. I think a lot of people would enjoy hearing, one of the most prolific reviewers we have talk.
Stop it.
Our world champion of Goodreads.
Oh God, not this again.
Petrik Leo. No,
Oh
this
my
was
God.
a pleasure, man. Thank you so much for taking your time on your Saturday morning to come
Yeah.
on. And like I said, we'll do it again for sure.
Yeah, we'll definitely do it again. And seriously, thank you so much for inviting me. This is super fun.
Of course, man. Of course.
Yeah.
And chat, thanks for being here. Thanks for being the third guest as always. I love you guys so much. In stressful times, this is my safe haven, and I can't tell you how much it means to me. And I know that a lot of other creators feel that way as well. So I love you all very, very much. And until I see you next time, be good, be safe. Remember to always keep turning the page.
Bye-bye.